Hello my friends, welcome back to the channel. So, this is Betty and Barney Hill. I'm not going to retell the event because it's one of the most famous cases in history, so I won't waste your time. If you want to know about the event, then you could always watch my 100 Years of UFO History video, where I go into it in quite a bit more detail. What we're going to focus on today is the aftermath. So, let me give you some context. Betty and Barney Hill were lovely, quiet, salt-of-the-earth couple from America, and Barney was a postman, Betty was a social worker, and in 1961 in New Hampshire, they had an extraordinary encounter. Now, they didn't go off looking for fame and praise after this. They didn't tell anybody until about 10 days later. Betty started having these recurring dreams, and extremely detailed dreams. Things like their car being forced to a stop and then they're being shepherded through a wood by figures, and Barney being kind of sleepwalking and unresponsive, and all very strange and quite disturbing stuff. So they sought external advice, and this just started the ball rolling, which turned into a boulder down a mountain and grew into the most famous UFO case of all time, arguably. And that's a really important motivation factor, because if you understand their motivations and their character, then it makes what they're saying much more compelling. This is the audio tapes of their hypnosis sessions, which they both underwent to try and understand what had happened to them. They also took lie detector tests, which they passed, and those are in this tape too. So the first one that you're going to hear is Betty's. And then at about the 50-minute mark, it'll change to Barney's sessions. And the last thing I'll say before we dive into this is, if you are an anxious person or of a nervous disposition, or you've got little ones that are trying to learn about UAP, this probably isn't the video for you. Whether or not it was done with negative and harmful intent, which I personally don't believe. I mean, my dog hates going to the vets, but it does him good. It's very, very emotional and very stressful, and that all comes out completely unfiltered with the two of them under hypnosis. So bear that in mind. This isn't your fluffy little greys giving people pancakes. I hope you enjoy it. More importantly, I hope you find it really interesting. And I'd like to know in the comments what you think of this, because this really is the foundation for so much stuff that came afterwards. So I'm not going to waste any more time. We're going to kick off with Betty, and I'll see you soon.
We're driving along. I don't know where we are. I don't even know how we got here. Barney and I, we've been driving, and I don't know how long, and we haven't even been talking. I just been sitting here feeling that something's going to happen. And I'm not really too afraid. Except right now I am. At that time I didn't feel afraid.
Why are you crying if you're not afraid?
I'm afraid now, but I wasn't.
Oh,
I wasn't afraid. I was afraid when I saw the men on the road.
Men in the road?
I've never been so afraid in my life.
Tell me about the men in the road. It's all right now. You're safe here. Tell me about the men in the road.
We're driving along. We're on a tarred road. And all of a sudden, without any warning or any reason or rhyme or anything, Barney made he almost, the brakes, I think, even squealed. He stopped so suddenly and made this sharp left-hand turn to the highway, and we went onto this narrow road. I was wondering what he was doing down here, but he wasn't saying anything, and I wasn't. I figured, well, maybe we're lost, but so what? We'll come out somewhere. And we're going along, and there was a sharp curve in the road, and as we went around the curve, there were trees. There were a lot of tall trees on my side. I don't know about Barney's side of the road, but there was these men standing in the highway, and I wasn't too afraid when I saw them. They were standing there, and I thought, well, you know, there was several. There was, I don't know. And they were just, you couldn't get a good look at them. But then I thought, well, you know, are they in a car and the car broken down, or what are they doing there? And Barney, of course, had to stop. And then he stops the car, and these men started to come up to the car. They separated. They came up in two groups. And when they started to do that, I get real scared. And the car motor died. The car stalled. And when they started coming up, Barney tried to start the car. He tried to start it, and you know how a motor of a car would just turn over, it won't fire. And he tried to start the car.
He did what?
He's trying to start the car,
yes.
And it won't start. And the men are coming towards us. And I think, well, I can get away from this. If I get the car door open, I can run in the woods and hide. And I'm thinking it, and I just put my hand on the car door and open it. And the men come up, and they open it for me. And they open the car door, and there's not very big men. And there's one, two, three, next to me. And then there's two men behind us.
I didn't hear that.
Two men. There's a car door, and there's 1, 2, 3 men.
Yep.
And then there's 1, 2 more behind them.
Yes.
And one man puts his hand out.
Go on.
I don't know what happened.
You can remember everything now. What do these men look like? Could you see their faces?
No.
How were they dressed?
Alike, somehow or other.
Did they have on any uniform, or were they in ordinary clothes?
No, like a uniform.
Uniform. Does it resemble any uniform you know?
I couldn't see. There's a couple of men behind me, and then there's Barney, and there's a man on each side of him. And my eyes are open. My body's still asleep. He's walking and he's asleep. And thinking that I am going to get mad. And they go, who the heck are these characters and what do they think they're doing? And so I turn around and I say, Barney, wake up. Barney, why don't you wake up? And he doesn't pay any attention. He keeps walking. And I keep going a little bit further, and I turn around and I say his name again, Barney, wake up. And he doesn't pay any attention. And then the man who's walking beside me here says, oh, is his name Barney? And I turned around and I looked at this man, and I figured it's none of his business. So I didn't speak to him. Did we keep walking? And I try to wake Barney up again. He said, Barney, wake up. And he doesn't. So the man said, he asked me again, he said, is Barney his name? Then I wouldn't ask him, so that he says, don't be afraid. You don't have any reason to be afraid. We're not going to harm you. But we just want to do some tests. When the tests are over with, we'll take you and Barney back and put you in your car, and you'll be on your way back home in no time. And so I mean, he was sort of reassuring in a way, but I can't say that I trusted what he said. And I wasn't sure what was going to happen, and we kept walking, and the body was still asleep, and then...
You mean he was walking in his sleep?
Yeah, he was just like sleepwalking.
These men spoke good English?
Only one spoke, the one who was on my left. And he said... And then he was more or less... He had an accent. He had sort of a foreign accent. But he was very, businesslike. And so then we kept walking, and we came to a clearing. And there was we came to the clearing, and there was I wish it was lighter so I could get a better picture of that. There was a ramp and a door. There was the object was on the ground.
The object was on the ground?
Yeah. I think it was the same one I was watching in the sky. And there were trees, and there was a path, and there was this clearing. And this object the clearing I could see just about filled up the clearing. And they're taking me up to the object. Now, I don't want to go on it. I don't want to. I don't know what's going to happen if I go on it. I don't want to go. And I go up the ramp, and I go inside, and there's a corridor to the left. We go up the corridor. And there's a room, and they start to take me in the room. Some of the men come in the room with this man who speaks English and me. They stay for a minute. I don't know who they are. I guess maybe they're the crew. But they only stay for a minute. And the man who speaks English is there, and another man comes in. I haven't seen him before. I think he's a doctor. And they came in the door. And I think he's got, I don't know how our nervous system is, but I hope that we'll never have nerve enough to go around kidnapping people right off the highways like he's done. And he tells me to take off my dress. And he told me to take off my dress, and then before I even have a chance hardly to stand up to do it, the examiner, my dress has a zipper down the back. Down the back? Yeah, it has a zipper down the back. And the examiner unzips my dress. It goes way down to my waist, the zipper does. And so I slip my dress off. And so I don't have my dress or my shoes on. And there's next over away is a stool, and then there's sort of in the middle of the room is a table, some kind of a table. It's not up very high, about the same height as a desk. So I lie down on the table on my back, and he brings over this how can I describe it? They're like needles. There's a whole cluster of needles, and each needle has a wire running from it. So then they roll me over on my back. And the examiner has a long needle in his hand. And I see the needle. And it's bigger than any needle I've ever seen. And I asked him what he's going to do with it. And he said, just a simple test, it won't hurt me. And I asked him what. And he said he just wants to put it in my navel. And it's just a simple test. And I told him, no, it will hurt. Don't do it. Don't do it. And he said, no, it won't hurt. And he sticks a needle into my navel. And said, and I'm crying, and I tell him it's hurting, take it out. And then the leader, he goes over and he puts his hand runs his hand in front of my eyes. And he says, I'll be all right. I won't feel it. And all the pain goes away. Dad. Dad. But the pain goes away, but I'm still sore from where they put that, I don't know why they put that long needle into my navel. I tried to tell them they shouldn't do it. But
did they make any sexual advances to you?
No.
They didn't?
No. I asked the leader, I said, why did they stick the needle in my navel? And he said it was a pregnancy test. And I said, well, I don't know what they expected, but that was no pregnancy test here. And he didn't say any more. So, the examiner he helped me get up off the table, and I swung around, and he gave me my shoes, and I put those on and got down on the floor, and my dress was there. And I put my dress on, and I was going to zip it up, and he took a hold of the zipper at the top and pulled it up, and then, I said, I can go now. I can go back to the car. And he said, Barney isn't ready yet. And so then I began to get worried, and I asked him why it was taking so long with Barney. And he said, well, they were doing a few more tests with him, but he'd be right along in a minute. And there was a cabinet there, and the doctor, the examiner, he had gone out of the room. There was just the leader and me there.
So there was a doctor there, you say?
And the man who did the examining, he did the testing, and he left. And so there was just the leader and me. And so I was grateful to him because he had stopped my pain. And now I wasn't afraid at all. And so I started talking with the leader. And I said to him that this had been quite an experience. It was unbelievable that no one would ever believe me, and that most people didn't even know he was alive, and that what I needed was some proof that this had really happened. So he laughed, and he said, well, what kind of proof did I want? What would I like? And I said, well, if he could give me something to take back with me, then people would believe it. And so he told me to look around, and maybe I could find something I would like to take. And I did, and there wasn't much around, but on the cabinet there was a book, a fairly big book. So I put my hand on the book and I said, could I have this? And the leader laughed, and he asked me if I thought I could read it. And I told him, no, I laughed too. I said, no. But I wasn't taking it to read. That this was going to be my proof, that this had happened. That this is my proof. And so he said that I could have the book if I wanted it. And I picked it up, and I was delighted. I mean, this was more than I had ever hoped for. He went over across the room to the head of the table, and he did something. He opened up, it wasn't like a drawer. He sort of did something in the metal of the wall. There was an opening, and he pulled down a map. And he asked me, had I ever seen a map like this before? And I walked across the room, and I leaned against the table, and I looked at it. And it was a map it was an oblong map. And he said that the heavy lines were trade routes. And then the other lines, the solid lines were places they went occasionally. And he said that the broken lines were expeditions. So I asked him where was his home port? And he said, where are you on this map? And I looked and I laughed and I said, I don't know. So he said, well then, if you don't know where you are, there wouldn't be any point of my telling you where I am. And he put the map, the map rolled up, and he put it back in the face in the wall and closed it. And I felt very stupid because I didn't know where the Earth was on the map. And I asked him, well, could he show me? Could he open up the map again and show me where the Earth was? And he just laughed. And then I got the book. I still got the book. I'm carrying the book. I got it in my arms. It's a big book. And so I went back to the cabinet and put the book down and started to look through it again. And there was all of a sudden this noise out in the hall. And some of the other men come in, and with them is the examiner. And they're quite excited. So I asked the leader, I said, what's the matter? Did something happen to Barney? What is that? Well, it's something to do with Barney. And the examiner has me open my mouth, and he starts checking my teeth, and they're tugging at them. And I asked him, what are they trying to do?
What were they doing at them?
They were tugging at my teeth. Tugging at them,
yes.
Yes. And the examiner said that he was very excited, and he said that he said that they couldn't figure it out. Barney's teeth came out and mine didn't. And I was really laughing. And I said that Barney had dentures and I didn't, and that's why his teeth would come out. And so then they asked me what were dentures. And I said that people, as they got older, washed their teeth. They had to go to the dentist and have their teeth extracted. And they put in dentures. Or a person, sometimes, Barney had to have dentures because he had a mouth injury of some sort, and he had to have his teeth extracted. All these things you ask me, I don't know. I'm a very limited person when trying to talk with you. But there are other people in this country who are not like me, that they would be most happy to talk with him, that they could answer all his questions. And maybe if he could come back, if we could make arrangements for a meeting, maybe I could, if he gave me time enough, somehow I could find these people and I could arrange for him to meet them, and it would have to be done so there'd be no danger involved. I wouldn't want him to be exposed to any danger. That I don't know how I could do it. I don't know how I'd work it out somehow. But if he could come, want him to come back. I want him to... And he's just looking at me. And will you come back? Can we work out something? And then his questions would all have answers, and other people could get all the things I'd like to know too. And he says, I don't know. It's not my decision to make. So I said, well, could you discuss it with the person who does have the decision to make? And he said, yes. And I said, well, if you do decide to come back, I mean, if it can be worked out, I would need time. It would take some time. I mean, I just couldn't go out on the spur of the moment and round up people to meet with you. It would have to be people that we knew would be all right and would have the background and all. And I wouldn't even know where to meet him. And he said, don't worry. If we decide to come back, we'll be able to find you all right. But I said, but I don't live around here. I don't live in this area. And he said, we'll find you. And I said, how? How will you find me? Out of millions of people. And he said, we will. We always do find those we want to. And I said, well, now what do you mean by that remark? And he just laughed. And then Barney's coming. They're bringing Barney out. I hear the men out in the corridor. And I said, Barney's coming. And he said, yes, you can go back to the car now. And I got the book. And Barney's coming out. And Barney's eyes are still shut. Good heavens. He's missed an awful lot. I wonder if they made him keep his eyes shut or if he's scared. So, now it's time to go back to the car, and the leader said, come on, we'll walk back to the car with you. And I said, all right. I said, but I wish I knew if you were going to come back. And he said, well, we'll see. And we're out into the corridor. Barney's behind me with his eyes shut. There's a man on each side of him. And I'm all ready to go down the ramp when some of the other men, not the leader, but some of the other men are talking. I don't know what they're saying, but they're very excited. And the leader is saying, he's saying something, and they're undecided about something. And then, the leader comes over and takes my book. And I said, I'm furious. I said, you promised me I could have the book. You gave me your word I could have it. And he said, I know it. He said, but the others object. They don't want you to have it. And I said, but this is my proof. if you take the book away from me, I'll have no proof that this has happened. And he said, that's the whole point. They don't want you to know it's happened. They want you to forget all about it. And that's why I'm taking the book. I won't forget about it. You can take the book, but you never can make me forget about it. Because I'll remember it's the last thing I ever do. But I want the book. He won't give it to me. And he says, he laughs. He said, maybe you will remember. I don't know. I hope you don't. But maybe you will. But it won't do you any good if you do. Because Barney won't. Barney won't remember one single thing. And not only that, if he should remember anything at all, he's going to remember it differently from you. And all you're going to do is get each other so confused you won't know what's going on. If you do remember, it'd be better if you forgot it anyway. And I said, why? But you're trying to threaten me? Because you can't scare me. Because I won't forget it. I'll remember it somehow. So then he said, all right, now, come on, let's go back to the car. We'll take you back to the car. And, I've been standing there on the side of the ramp talking to him. And I'm not so mad now. And they've taken Barney ahead while we were talking. So the other men are going ahead. And he said, I had no objections to you having the book, but the others object. And they have as much right to make this decision as I do. So I said, all right, I won't be mad at you. But it is the most, I wish I could be able to have some proof of this, because it's the most unbelievable thing that's ever happened.
Betty, the polygraph can only determine what you believe to be so. Mm-hmm. In trying to bridge from what you believe to be so, whether it is so or not, I think probably the best thing to use is the star map. At least the star map is something that brings us into reality as those who have never had your experience would know it. In other words, there is a map that you drew prior to the time a couple of stars were discernible, because they didn't have the equipment in 61 or 65 to see those stars, and subsequently that map became validated. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. I think that trying to bridge what you believe to be so and what is in fact so, if we address the polygraph examination to how you obtained the information with which to draw the star map, we might at least strike at some form of reality as opposed to your perception, which you may think is very real, but which may not, in fact, be real. So if we try to make the bridge with the star map, and we ask you questions along the lines of, did you obtain the information to draw that star map from a UFO, and then reverse it, did you obtain it through any other source, we can determine what you at least believe in relation to the star map. And then what we've been using basically in these areas of psychic phenomena, and with some success, is to ask you whether or not you think this whole thing is a hoax. I think quickly we can strip away, if it is a hoax, your belief that what you're saying is so when you know in fact it isn't so. So I think if we address the examination to those two areas, we may at least be able to find out if you believe that what you're saying is so. And before I invite you to take that test, if someone came up to you today, and I'm sure many people have since you've become noteworthy in this area, and said, I had an experience or I was on a UFO, what do you think of those people today? Are they telling the truth or not?
I would want a great deal more than just a person's word that the person's been on a UFO.
Well, the
But I
star map
went
is a
back-
tangible product of this whole experience. That's something that has some substantiation quite apart from anybody's arguments against all this.
Yeah, so I think we could use that.
Let's
Betty,
test it.
nothing disparaging, but I would be derelict as a polygraph examiner if I didn't inquire into your general medical health and as far as your mental health. Let me ask you, if you're not reluctant to say, have you ever, prior to this occurrence, had therapy or counseling or visited a psychiatrist?
No. I'm a retired social worker. I usually took other people in.
But you never needed any treatment yourself?
No.
Okay.
Good enough for me.
Let's try.
Do you plan to lie to me about that star map?
No.
Did you initially receive that star map information while on board a UFO?
Yes.
Betty's story first emerged under hypnosis following nightmares on her part and an unexplained deterioration in the physical condition of her husband, Barney. A medical hypnotist, a psychiatrist, was recommended, and this is what he found. We can only test whether or not she believes this is a real recollection and not something that she made up or only dreamed.
Regarding the original star map information, did you obtain it from a source other than a UFO?
No.
People from New-Hampshire are typically swift and direct in their answers.
Do you believe your star map story is a hoax?
No.
Test is over. Remain still for 10 seconds, please. This is one of the charts, Betty, that was actually collected on television that our viewers could see. The first relevant question was, did you initially receive that star map information while on board a UFO? You, as you're nodding your head, said yes. And we see in the cardio tracing a downward movement of the blood pressure as shown by measuring blood volume. We contrast that with the question before where there was a slight upswing, and more notably here in the respiration tracing, we see a very long sustained suppression when you answered the control question and almost nothing happening when you answered the relevant question, indicating a lack of stress or what we call a lack of reaction to the relevant question. Let's go to the second question. The second question was a restatement of the first. Regarding the original star map information, did you obtain it from a source other than a UFO? Now, when you created the star map, I don't believe there were any sources that could have given you those two other stars, but the question is, what did you believe? You said, no, you didn't get it from a source other than a UFO, and there's absolutely nothing happening here in this cardio tracing, showing a lack of stress when you said no to that question. But the question before, we see that you're capable of significant cardio response because we see it here with this tremendous upswing. Here again, the respiration pattern, there's that suppression that we noted in the earlier question, nothing happening in the relevant question. Let's go to the third question, dealing with whether or not you believe that your story is a hoax. What it says. You believe your star map story is a hoax. You said no. Blood pressure's going down. Galvanic skin response shows 6 chart divisions, and we contrast that with the question before, where you had many more chart divisions in the galvanometer, a significant baseline arousal in the respiration tracing. Putting it all together, Betty, you believe what you're telling us, and I wouldn't want to alienate an alien and say it isn't so. All I can tell you is you believe what you're saying.
I do.
We now have an astronomer who backs you up. I guess a whole bunch of them. You can't very well describe stars that haven't been discovered without some kind of help. We have a scientist who's a doctor who under hypnosis under techniques that he believes were totally legitimate, came out with this story, showing at least it was in your mind, it was very real, you thought it had happened. We have the time gap, the 2 hours that disappeared from your lifetime until he restored them, and now we have the polygraph, which says you're much more disturbed by general character questions than you are by questions about the authenticity of your story. We can't, even with Steven Spielberg's help, we can't produce a spacecraft, but maybe someday somebody will, and maybe they'll be little and gray. Thank you very much, Betty. It's been a joy.
My pleasure.
We go deeper and deeper, deeper asleep, far asleep, deeper and deeper. Fully relaxed, all muscles are relaxed, you're comfortable, relaxed. You will not be anxious or distressed, but you will remember everything and you will tell me everything.
Yes. I think I will stop. I will stop. And I have not stopped. And Betty said, "Look, there's a star moving." And I look and I see a star. It's funny. But I said, "Betty, that's a satellite. We are seeing a satellite." And then I pulled over to the side of the road, and Betty jumped out her side, on her side, with the binoculars, and I got the chain, and I hooked it to the dog on her collar, and I say, "Come on, Dulcie, let's get out." She jumps out. And I look toward the sky, and I look back to Dulcie and walk her around the trunk of the car. And I'm saying, "Hurry up, Betty, so I can get a look." And Betty passes the binoculars to me. And I see that this is not a satellite. It is an airplane. It is an airplane you can see. I think you can see the rows of windows. And it is an airplane. And I tell Betty this, and give the binoculars back to her. And I am satisfied. And I drive, and Betty is still looking, and she says, "Barney, that is not a plane. It is still following us." And I stop. And I look and I see it is still out there, off in the distance. So I search for a place to pull off the road. And I see a dirt road to the right of the main highway. And I think this is a good place I can pull off. And if any car comes, it won't strike me. And I am thinking, this is strange, because it is still there. And Betty said, I think she said, I am mad with her. I said, I believe Betty is trying to make me think this is a flying saucer.
Was it light enough to see?
It was just a light moving through the sky, and I heard no noise. And I think, this is ridiculous. And Betty, it is not a flying saucer. What are you doing that for? You want to believe in this thing, and I don't. And I can't hear any sound.
No sound whatever.
I want to hear a jet. Oh, I want to hear a jet so badly. I want to hear it.
Why do you want to hear a jet?
Because Betty is making me mad. She is making me angry because she is saying, look at that. It's strange. It's not a plane. Look at it. And I keep thinking it's got to be. And I want to hear a hum. I want to hear a motor.
How far away was it?
It wasn't far. It was about 1,000 feet, I guess.
1,000 feet.
1,000 feet.
Did it go back and forth, or did it go in circles like a plane does?
It would go toward the west, and without looking as if it turned, it would come straight back. It would go like I think of a paddle and a ball with a rubber. And you hit the ball, and the ball goes straight out and comes straight back without a circle. And I think only a jet could fly that fast. And I am hoping I can find a good place where I can stop and really see this thing, whatever it is. And I see a wigwam, and I recognize this place, and I feel safe. I feel less in the barren hostility.
What is this place?
Wooded area.
What is this place?
It is Indian Head. I had been there before, and I feel comforted that I see a familiar place. And I think I will get a good look at this, because Betty was very annoying. She was annoying by telling me, look, and I can't look. I have to drive the car. I want to wake up.
You're not going to wake up. You're in deep sleep. You're comfortable, relaxed. This is not going to trouble you. Go on. You can remember everything now.
It's right over my right. God. What is it? And I try to maintain control so Betty cannot tell I am scared. God, I'm scared.
It's all right. You can go right on and experience it. It will not hurt you now.
I got to get my gun.
All right. All right. That's all. Stop. Go to sleep, Steve. You forget now. You forget it now. You've forgotten. Calm now. Relaxed. Deeply relaxed. Deeply relaxed. You will not have to make any outcry. But you can remember it now. Keep remembering. You feel you have to get your gun. This is going to harm you, you felt.
I open the trunk of my car, and I get it. And I get back in the car.
All right, just keep reasonably calm.
And I put it in my coat. And then I get out with the binoculars, and it is there. And I look, and it shifts over, and I think, I'm not afraid. I'll shoot it down if I'm not afraid. And I walk out, and I walk across the road. There it is up there. Oh, God damn it!
Calm down. Calm down. It's there, but you can see it, but it's not going to hurt you. Go on.
Why doesn't it go away? Look at it. There's a man there.
Calm. It's not going to hurt you.
There's a man there. And he's Captain. What is he? You gotta look at me.
Just a minute. Let's go back a little bit now. You say it's there. Did you say it was 1,000 feet away?
Oh, no.
1,000 yards?
It doesn't look that far. It's very big. And it's not that far. And I can see it tilted toward me.
Tilted? What does it look like now when you say tilted? Did you see wings?
Looks like a big pancake with windows and rows of windows and lights of not light, just one huge light. And
rows of windows like a commercial plane?
Rows of windows. They're not like a commercial plane because they curve around to the size of this pancake. And I say, my God, no. I have to shake my head. I got to, it can't be true. This isn't there. Oh, it's still there. And I look up and down the road. Can't somebody come and tell me this is not there? It can't be. And it's all...
You're still asleep, but you can see it all clearly.
It's there.
You sure it's there?
Yeah,
You weren't having a dream?
it's there.
You'd had no sleep that evening?
I touch my right arm. It's not my right, it's my left arm. And then I touch my right arm, and it is my left arm. I'm confused.
You're clear now. You're relaxed.
It's still there. If I let my binoculars fall and dangle from my neck and then start over again, maybe it won't be there. But it is. Why? What do they want? What do they want? One person looks friendly. He's friendly looking, and he's looking at me over his right shoulder, and he's smiling.
Could you see him clearly?
Yes, I thought.
What's his face like? What does it make you think of?
It's round. I think of a red-haired Irishman. I don't know why, but I think I know why. Because Irish are usually hostile to Negroes, and when I see a friendly Irish person, I react to it by thinking I will be friendly. And I think this one that is looking over his shoulder is friendly.
You say looking over his shoulder. Was he facing away from you?
Yes, he was facing a wall. And
You saw him through this window? Or you said there was a row of windows.
it was a row of windows. Just a huge row of windows, only divided by struts or structures that prevented it from being one solid window. Or then it would have been one solid window. And the evil face on the... He looks like a German Nazi.
He is a Nazi. Did he have on a uniform?
Yes.
What kind of uniform?
It was black. He had a black scarf around his neck, dangling over his left shoulder.
You pointed it out as if it were on you.
I never noticed that before.
He had a black scarf on his neck. How could you see these figures so clearly at that distance?
I was looking at him with binoculars.
Oh. Did they have faces like other people? You say one reminded you of a red-headed Irishman.
His eyes were slanted. I see it so. His eyes were slanted, but not like a Chinese.
What was Betty doing all this time?
I'm not close to her. I don't know.
You're out there by
don't
yourself
think of
now?
her.
You don't think of her. Is she saying anything?
I can't hear her.
Did you make any outcry to her, the way you did to me?
I can't remember. I don't know. I did not.
You would remember it if you did.
I did not. But I know this creature, this leader is telling me something.
He's telling you something. How? How is he getting it to you?
I can see it in his face.
Do you see his lips move? Yes.
No, his lips aren't moving.
Yes, go on. He's telling you.
And he's looking at me.
What did he tell you?
Stay there and keep looking. Just keep looking and stay there. And just keep looking. Just keep looking.
Could you hear him tell you?
Oh, I gotta pull these binoculars away from my eyes. Because if I don't, I'll just keep staying there.
Could you hear him tell you this?
Oh, no, he didn't say it.
You felt he said it.
I know.
You know he said
Just
it.
there, yeah. Just stay there, he's saying to me. It's
All right.
pounding in my head. Just
All
don't
right.
pull the binoculars away. God, give me strength.
All right.
Pull them down. Run! Pull these binoculars down and run. God! If there's my God, give me strength. I gotta get away. Oh! Betty!
All right.
We gotta get away, Betty!
All right. Calm down.
I'm driving. I
Calm
gotta
down.
get away.
How could you be sure he was telling you this? Calm down. You're still asleep. How could you be sure he was telling you this?
His eyes. His eyes. I've never seen his eyes before.
But you said they were friendly. You said they were friendly.
Oh, no. Not the leaders. I said only the one looking over his shoulder.
Oh, I see. The leader was the...
friendly.
How did you know the other one was the leader?
Because everybody moved. Everyone was standing there looking at me. But everybody moved to these levers or in the back, or they went to this big board. It looked like a board. And only this one with the black shiny jacket and the scarf stayed at the window. I'm driving.
You going back into the car now?
Yes.
You put down your binoculars, did you?
I got them down.
Yes. And you got into the car. Did you speak to Betty?
Getting a hold of myself. I'm saying hold to myself. Now, don't panic. You got great fortitude. You can drive the car. And I told Betty to look out. The object was still around us. I could feel it around us. I saw it when we passed by the object. When I got into the car, it had swung around so that it was out there. I knew it was out there. Yeah, it's out there. But I don't know where. I'm lost. It's funny.
Yes, speak a little louder.
I know Route 3. Oh, those eyes. They're there in my brain. Oh, please. Can I wake up?
Stay asleep a little longer.
Oh.
We'll get through this now, all right. We'll get through it all right. All of your feelings, tell me. It won't upset you so much.
They're there. Isn't that funny? Oh, the woods.
Yes.
That crazy dog. She stays in the car all the time. Isn't that funny? Stays in the car.
She says doesn't bark, do anything?
She just stays there.
What about Betty?
I don't know.
Isn't she saying anything?
Oh. I don't understand. Are we being robbed? I don't know.
What makes you think you're being robbed?
I know what's in my mind, and I don't want to say it.
Well, you can say it to me. You can say it now.
They're men, all with black jackets. And I don't have any money. I don't have anything. I don't know. Oh. The eyes are there. Always the eyes are there. And they're telling me I don't have to be afraid. Is there an accident down the road? What's the red? The bright red.
Bright red?
Yeah.
What is that?
Orange and red.
Where is that?
Right down the road.
Down the road.
And I don't have to be afraid. But they won't talk to me.
Who won't talk to you?
The men.
In the vehicle?
No, they're standing in the road.
And where are you? You're in the car?
No. I'm just suspended. I'm just floating about. Oh, how funny. Float about. Just floating. Nothing. I want to get back to the car, but just floating about.
You really floating about, or is that the way you feel?
The way I feel.
You're still outside of the car?
No,
You're in the car.
I'm not in the car. I'm not near the car. I'm not in the woods. I'm not on the road.
Well, where are these men?
I don't know.
On the road.
I don't know. I'm just floating about. Oh, geez. That's the funniest thing, Betty. Funniest thing. I never believed in flying saucers, but I don't know. Mighty mysterious. Yeah. Well, I guess I won't say anything to anybody about this. It's too ridiculous, isn't it? Oh, yeah, it's really funny. Wonder where they came from. Oh, geez, I wish I had gone with them.
You wish you had gone with them?
Yes. Oh, what an experience to go to some distant planet. Maybe this will prove the existence of God. Isn't that funny? You look for the existence of God in other planets. Were you scared? I wasn't. No, I wasn't afraid. I wasn't anything anyway. It was very ridiculous just you and I talking about it. Yeah. Well, we're getting into Portsmouth a little later than I expected.
All right, we'll stop there. You will be calm and relaxed. You will forget everything that we have had this period together until I ask you to recall it again. You will forget everything we have had now until I ask you to recall it again. You may wait now.
Wow. 10 minutes after 8. Didn't you bring me in here 10 minutes after 8?
Yes.
What about 10? Where was I?
Been right here with me.
Where's my cigarette? Was I about to reach for a cigarette?
Look that way. Go ahead and have one.
I thought I was coming in here and you asked me to take this seat, this chair, and then I was going to reach for a cigarette, but I never reached for it.
So how do you feel?
I feel fine.
Good. You know what happened here?
I know you put me into a trance. I know the purpose of it, but I don't know.
That's all right. We'll continue this next week, a week from today. What was it you saw down the highway?
I saw a group of men, and they were standing in the highway, and they came and they assisted me.
Okay, who assisted you?
These men.
They assisted you out of the car?
Yeah.
That's what you said? Mm-hmm.
I am only thinking of mental pictures because my eyes are closed, and I think I am going up a slight incline, and my feet are not bumping on the rocks. That's funny. I thought of my feet bumping on the rocks. And they are going up smoothly. But I'm afraid to open my eyes because I am being told strongly by myself to keep my eyes closed and don't open them. And I don't want to be operated on.
You don't want to be operated on. What makes you think of an operation?
I don't know.
You were thinking about this when you were there on the road?
I was thinking about this when I was lying on my stomach.
Where were you lying on your stomach?
I thought I was inside something, but I did not dare open my eyes. I had been told to keep my eyes closed.
Who told you that?
The man.
What man?
That I saw through the binoculars.
Was this one of the men in the road?
No.
Well, who were these men in the road? Or what part did they play in it?
They took me and carried me up this ramp.
Did you feel you were going to be operated on?
No.
Did you feel you were going to be attacked in any way?
No. I was laying on the table and my fly was open and I thought, are they putting a cup around my private parts? And then it stopped. And I thought, how funny.
Speak a little louder, please.
I thought, how funny if I keep real quiet and real still, I won't be harmed and it will be over and am walking and I am walking and am being guided and my eyes are closed and I open my eyes and there is the car and the lights are off and it is not running and Dulcie is under the seat reached under and touched her, and she is in a tight ball under the seat, and I sit back and I see Betty is coming down the road, and she gets into the car, and I am grinning at her, and she is grinning back at me, and we both seem so elated, and we are really happy, and I'm thinking, it isn't too bad. How funny. I have no reason to fear. And we look, and I see a bright moon, and I laugh and say, well, there it goes. And I'm happy.